Should you practice or not practice? This is sort of a debate, and it's often questioned. Should I make any effort to realize my true nature, or should I just stop doing everything? And you see, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. And I usually speak to this on the topic of discipline and devotion. See, discipline is effort, and devotion is effortless. And there's no devotion without discipline. To favor one over the other is a bit of a misunderstanding. And we can see this with certain teachings that perhaps only speak to the effortlessness and sort of discredit and dismiss and deny the effort. It's not practical. And in a way, this then becomes a sort of cookie cutter approach and sort of dismisses, denies, it doesn't honor one's unique path. And this discipline and devotion can be seen as two sides of the same coin. They're really one. We experience this discipline early on in the journey. I usually refer to discipline in devotion as a metaphor. Discipline is the root and devotion is the fruit. This discipline is a lot like a seed that has sprouted and is feeling its way through the dark soil, overcoming obstacles, striving, struggling to reach the light. And the devotion is a lot like the natural unfoldment, much like a rose when the petals are opening, when it's blooming. It's just this effortless opening that happens on its own. You see that every flower, every fruit has a root. And to dismiss what is often below the surface is a sort of misunderstanding. It's like saying that you want the fruit, but you're denying that process that happens prior to the fruit. All of the growth that happens below the surface is dismissed. It's not honored. So this is why I don't have a cookie cutter approach. It's not some one size fits all. This is where I honor your unique path. And you can see that it's really about intuiting, understanding where the question is really coming from. Because depending on where you're at in your journey, you could actually need more discipline. It can be more effective for you to have more discipline in your life. And for someone else who's very disciplined, it could be time for more devotion. And like this, you see this transition that there's a lot of effort at the start and then it becomes effortless. That's really how we find this effortlessness, is through all the effort. It's when you're exhausted from all of the effort that then you then become effortless. So like this, it's kind of silly or foolish. Maybe those aren't the words. it's naive to deny all of the effort that has taken place. See, even if one is teaching the direct path or the pathless path, radical non-duality, there's nobody here, there's nothing to do, it's not practical. It's sort of discrediting and dismissing all of the effort that has been made prior to that realization. Teacher could stand up, and typically they're not standing up, they're sitting down in front of an audience, and after 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of striving, do they come to this realization only after being effortless? And then to deny that whole journey, that whole process, is a little naive. And then offer the shortcut, offer the silver bullet, the quick fix. It's a little bit more than naive. It's almost arrogant. It dishonors the whole journey of what happened before one came to that realization. Sometimes, again, this question comes up when people ask, is enlightenment sudden or gradual? To which I answer, it's both. And using the same metaphor, it's the same thing, where it's like there's an apple on an apple tree, and that moment of realization is sudden. It's very much like the apple falling from the apple tree. It falls suddenly. But there was also the process of growing and maturing and ripening prior to the apple falling. And to discredit that is a bit of a rejection. It's like overlooking that. And it's so easy to overlook that. And this is where it can be a little arrogant, a little naive, to then dismiss that whole journey, that whole process, to discredit it and then feel like that's not valuable. And then, oh, here's the quick fix, or here's the shortcut. Yeah, the last 40 years of my life, it was a complete waste. And you don't need to do what I did because you could just do the shortcut right here. And then one listening to that wonders why that shortcut's not working, why that quick fix isn't working. It's because you can't leapfrog. you can't speed up that maturing process no more than you can speed up the process of ripening the fruit, right? So everything happens in its own time, its own process, this natural harmony, this natural growth, this natural maturation. And when one is listening to someone preach the shortcut or offer the silver bullet, the quick fix, I mean, this is just catering to the mind. This is what people want to hear. See, one who's not disciplined, they love hearing. What, you mean I can achieve this without any work? It's like offering someone, here, I'll give you 6-pack abs without dieting or without working out. It's too good to be true, right? It's sort of what everybody wants, and you can see this in our society. It's very attractive. This is what sells. But is it actually effective? That's a whole nother question. And when one is then listening to this and trying to intellectualize, trying to grasp the concepts and thinking that they can just get there by grasping the concepts, by having a mental understanding, and wondering why that's not their living experience, it's exactly because of that process not happening. that growth, that maturity, that ripening hasn't taken place, right? Which then leads one to experiencing a great deal of frustration. It's sort of a bit of, gotta watch what I say here. It's a little bit of a disservice to someone when we offer this one size fits all. Because, like I said, is perhaps by really listening where that question's coming from. Like I said, the teaching is alive. It's not something that's fixed. When you listen where it's coming from, and there's this deep intuition, you know where it's coming from, and you can see it and you can feel it, then that answer is customized. That's why I say what I share is both universal and individual, right? So it's individualized or customized, tailored, and like I said, is perhaps someone needs something more practical. They need more practice. They need more discipline in their life, where that would be what one needs, instead of them thinking that they can just get there by intellectualizing what's being said to try and grasp it. And like this is really embracing one's unique path. So I said that it's about honoring your path. And you find that that's where you can actually find joy in the journey, when you stop trying to escape it, stop trying to resist it, right? Because that's kind of what's going on. I don't want to go through this. I just want to get to the end. So it's a little bit of a bypass. I want the fruit, but I don't want to do the work, right? It's like, try starting a garden. You just want the harvest, but you don't want to put in the work, tilling the soil and watering and nurturing the crop. It just doesn't work like that, right? So it's about seeing it like this, and maybe you then can have a shift in perspective to see how that's actually happening, is that you're actually trying to avoid that process. You're trying to bypass it, get around it. And it's just not possible. Like I said, every fruit has a root. And when you are attached to the fruit and you don't want that, you don't want to do the dirty work, you don't want to do the growing in the soil, the dirty work, going in the darkness, then you see that it's like you're picking and choosing. And you can't be you can't pick and choose with this process, because this process is all inclusive. It's picking and choosing that then we experience suffering, because that's what it is. Attachment and aversion is suffering. Resistance is suffering. When we're resisting the journey, which is unfolding as your life, then you experience suffering. So this is why I don't offer some one size fits all, some cookie cutter teaching. This is why I honor your unique path. And the message that I share is both universal and individual. So if this sounds good to you, and you want to embrace your journey, then I invite you to join my free community, Truth Community. It's in the link in the description below. I'll see you in the next video.